My name's Emily, and I left everything else behind in order to build my dream life here on the 9 acres and in the farmhouse that my grandparents built their life in for over 50 years. And today I'm going to be giving you a full tour of all of the 9 acres, including all of the outbuildings, everything my grandpa left behind, and the hopes and dreams that I have for the future of this land. So this is my barn, and it is a cool old barn with stairs and a hayloft, but there's also a giant hole in it because there was a storm and a tree branch fell and took that whole corner out. So that is really too bad because this is a cool old barn, but at this point it's not structurally to a point where it is worth saving, and eventually it will either come down on its own or need to be taken down. But there's no real future vision for this barn because of the state that it's in right now. But it is a cool relic. My grandma calls it the horse barn. They used to have horse stuff out here and horses, but there is a hole right here too because my uncle dug it out of a punishment for making, I think, excessive long distance phone calls. And it's an oil bay. They used it for changing oil. So, some family history back here, and this is the barn. So, now we're going to check out the other outbuilding, and it is this shed. And this was my grandpa's workshop. So, there's a ton of his stuff still in there, but this building as well is not in great shape. The lean-to, the white lean-to, has been overtaken by woodchucks over the years and really has nothing good in it. And then this addition back here, the roof on this is completely gone, pretty much, and it just is done for completely, as you'll see on the inside. But then this remaining concrete circle right here used to be a grain bin. So it used to be a silo. Some remainder of the farm that this place used to be. These weeds are just a little overgrown. Oops. So there's things about this shed that are true. It's still standing. There's a lot of stuff in it, but it's also kind of yucky. And there's just a lot of insulation and stuff that's still in here, besides the dead animal situations, that just kind of make it not so great of an environment to be in. And it would take a lot of work to get this to a place where it's a nice building again. It gets worse every year. The back section that is completely dilapidated now is kind of creeping onto the side of this roof here, and water's leaking, and it just needs to be re-roofed. But I just don't know how many resources and how much it's worth it to put into this shed anymore. And it is sad. It is kind of sad because this is a cool big shed, and there's so much of my grandpa, as you've seen, that is just this shed. This shed was his space and is a workshop, and there's things in here that he was the last person to mess with and touch and work on, and it was just his space. And there was an old car in here that he was restoring, but that is not here anymore. He passed away in 2009, and so this hasn't been touched in over a decade, some of this stuff. And the things that my other family and my cousins wanted have kind of been taken out already, and the things that were of value. And so, yeah. I don't know what the future of this shed holds, but it holds a lot of memories and a lot of touch points for me to feel like I'm close to my grandpa. And so it is hard. It's hard to know the future. But from here, we're going to move on to an area that has the most promise for me, and that is some of the forest and the land. And so let's go. So this is just the beginning of getting into the heavily wooded areas, and it circles all the way around the property, and it's bigger and wider in some areas than it is in others. But these trees are so old and they're so tall, and you can really get lost back here. It is such a beautiful part of this property, and one of the most special parts to me that I see that has the most potential for just being a getaway and just creating trails, which I haven't even really started to do. I started on them a couple of years ago before I was officially moved back here, just really briefly, and I really haven't worked up the courage, I guess, to start on it again. But that's coming, and I love this property so much because of this old growth forest part of it that it has. It's so unique. So much of the land in Iowa has been turned into farmland and just usable land that you can make a profit off of, whether that be livestock agriculture or actual crop agriculture. This is a part of the land that was preserved by my family, and just these trees and just allowing them to grow and be here is such a special part of this land. And my grandpa was heavily invested in allowing these trees to be and just creating this forest. And it's so special to me. It's such a special part of this property. But I know I've said that, I just can't emphasize enough how much I like these trees. And I am going to attempt to give you an idea, a feeling of the expanse of the forest and just how tall these trees are. So let's go. The best time to work back here and get around back here is the spring or the winter when everything is dead on the ground, at least. So now we're on the other side of where we were in the trees because there is an old fence there that you can't really get across. But this is the start of my prairie trails. And we're going to take a little walk on the prairie trails in order to get to that side of the forest. So this is the corner of the woods that is the widest and deepest, and it's so beautiful back here. I just want to make this accessible. As you can see, it's just not accessible, and it's late summer right now, so everything is crazy, but I just want to make trails so that I can get back here and have a bench and like an area, because it is so cool how remote it feels back here. And when you're in the middle of this deep corner, it is just a retreat. It's a getaway. And these trees too, oop, that broke. These trees too are just so big and so tall, and it's just amazing back here. I could go on, but I want to talk a little bit about the prairie, or what I've been calling the prairie, but I'm going to explain more. So I know that I've been calling these my prairie trails and this the prairie area, but this is not prairie. This is just grass and weeds that I let grow really long this year and not mow. But historically, the past 10 plus years or so, my grandma has rented these acres out for hay to somebody who was cutting it down a few times a year to feed to cows. So that's just what it is. It's clover and grass and weeds that are long now. And that's not my vision for this. My vision for this is to convert it to native wildflower rich prairie. And that's going to happen really soon. I couldn't be more excited about it. I'm going to make an entire video shortly about the process and what I'm looking at doing this fall and next spring to these acres. It's a little over 2 acres, and I just want it to be a beautiful, diverse mix of wildflower native prairie plants that bloom from spring to fall. And so that is the vision. I'm going to keep mowing my trails once that prairie is in, but it's going to be a whole deal. And I can't wait to walk among the wildflowers. I know this grass is beautiful, but it's not half as beautiful as what it's going to be in a couple of years. And so that's one of the things that I'm prioritizing the most, because I want to go the conservation route. I want to create a beautiful native habitat amidst all of this land that has been turned into industrial agriculture here in Iowa. I want to create a habitat for pollinators and wild animals, and for me to live here and be able to experience this land exactly how it used to be and what it's supposed to grow, which is beautiful, wild, native prairie and flowers. So from here, I only have a couple more things to show you outside. and I'm going to take you to the garage and also the gardens that I have going this year and show you what those look like right now. So this is a cool little garage, and it has an attic and some cute stairs and then the house, and I will show you briefly the inside of the garage. Essentially just where the mowers are. It's kind of my workstation for my painting business, cabinet painting business. And then it is partially drywalled and finished. Not completely, but partially. And then if you see that green square back there, that's actually a painted backdrop because my grandpa, who was a photographer, used to take portraits in here, and I have pictures of me that he took of me with that backdrop behind me in here. So that's kind of cool. But otherwise, it could be in worse shape. It's not too bad. There's just some stuff in here. But yeah, it's where I work, so it's nice to have a workstation that I can use for my business. And then above the attic, what are you doing in here? Get out of here. Above the attic, up here, it's kind of cool. I actually might show you. Up the stairs we go. Pretty, really pretty. Oh, it's hot up here. But it is dry up here. There's quite a bit of stuff. Not too much stuff, but some stuff. And then there's a window all the way at that end that I think is really cool. I got a zucchini. I picked the top off of it, but that's okay. It'll still be good. But I wanted to end my outdoor tour of the acreage here in my garden because I put a lot of work into it this year, and it gives me a lot of hope because there's so much of this land and these buildings and the forest that it's just going to be a ton of work, and it can be really overwhelming for me at times to feel like I can't make progress or that I don't have what it takes to do this. But my garden gives me hope because it's proof that the grass grows where you water it, and where you put love and care and attention, the land will pay you back. And so, standing here among my beautiful flowers and vegetables and tall sunflowers, there's hope. And I can't wait to continue working on this property that I've chosen amongst all the other places that I could be in the world. I want to be here, and I want to put the work in here. And I have to hope and believe that it will pay me back and that I can make my vision come to life. So thank you so much for watching this acreage tour. I am so happy to have you along. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel to follow along on my journey and all of the things that I hope to work on here. So thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.